Here is my audience. When you hear the phrase "et tu, Brute," what is the first thing you think of? The only correct answer in this situation is Julius Caesar's last words in William Shakespeare's play The Tragedy of Julius Caesar. Now, I know many of you didn't pay attention in English class, or you never had to read Julius Caesar in English class, but you've most likely heard the term Kaiser in your history class. According to Toneby in 2025, Kaiser was used for royalty because it was a title made because of Julius Caesar's name. Julius Caesar was a successful leader when it came to military, politics, and in his role as Rome's leader. Today, I'm going to be talking about Julius Caesar's legacy and what he did for Rome. I will to be able to better understand what Julius Caesar did for Rome. I will talk about how he conquered Europe, how he tackled corruption in the city streets, and I will end with his assassination and the legacy he left behind. I am credible enough to talk about this topic because of my fascination for ancient Rome and because of all the studying I do for it. When it came to the military for Rome, it was very important. So, when Julius Caesar became the governor of the northern territory of Gaul, he decided to expand Rome's borders. Before I move on to my first main point, let me explain to you what Gaul was. Gaul is what we now call modern-day France. It was a small country which held many different tribes. During the Gallic Wars, Julius Caesar wanted to move Rome's borders into the Atlantic Ocean and the English Channel, according to Klein in 2023. Some tactics he had used while trying to conquer Gaul first was diplomacy, divide and conquer, and military force, which Gianta explains in 2024. According to History Tools in 2024, some people believe that the reason why Julius Caesar had done this was because he wanted a bigger and better reputation by going into some unknown land and taking it for Rome. When Julius Caesar had taken over the British Channel, he had forced the Britons to promise to be peaceful towards any allies of Rome in 54 BCE. Not only was Julius Caesar concerned with the military, he also cared about the people's well-being. Before I move on to my second main point, I will discuss what a plebeian is. A plebeian is another name for a lower class citizen, or just a poor person. One of Julius Caesar's first political reforms was to take a proper census so he can get an accurate number of how many residents were in Rome. Little did he know, because of the war, there were many ineligible residents living there who were also collecting grain that were meant to be for eligible residents who were poor. So, to save some money, he halved the amount of grain that were given to people. After the census, he realized how low the population really was. And so, for families to make more children, he promised to give them extra grain. Wasson also explains in 2024, this was also a way to get more future soldiers for Rome's military. Despite everything Julius Caesar had done for Rome, his senators still distrusted him. And on to my third main point, Julius Caesar's assassination and legacy. He was assassinated on March 15th, 44 BCE. His senators didn't like him because of his arrogance and popularity, and when he had decided that he wanted to be dictator for life, that's what pushed him over the edge. So, a group of senators, led by Brutus, murdered Julius Caesar while at a meeting. Because of the murder, it led to a series of civil wars in Rome and eventually the end of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire, according to National Geographic Society in 2025. Because of Julius Caesar's political reforms, many future leaders were influenced by his rule. He was also able to continue his legacy by having his son, Octavius Caesar, who was later known on as Augustus, had him become ruler for some time, according to Thompson in 2025. And there are still people who are immensely fascinated with Julius Caesar, whether you're a scholar, a teacher, or a student. Today, I talked about Julius Caesar's military achievements, reforms, and ended with his assassination and legacy. Overall, Julius Caesar lived an interesting life. Not only did he conquer land for all of Europe, but he gained support from the plebeians by helping them out, and was then later assassinated by his own senators. Even though March 15th, 44 BCE marked the final day of his life, it did not mark the end of his legacy, a legacy full of leadership, bravery, and knowing how to make the right choice. And then, here's my audience again. And then...